Mike's Daily Podcast.
I love using new studios for the show, and when I blow my ears out, that's great. Wait, no, it's not good. Hey, it's a different type of mic.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Mike Matthews is the same, but the microphone I'm using is a little more compressed. It makes my voice sound like I could be doing an announcer thing. And my name's Bess. Hello, I'm Bess, the announcer. And that's my secret wish, is that my name was Bess.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I guess. All right. Well, we'll somehow fix this and make it sound good.
Mike's
in post.
Daily
Maybe.
Podcast.
Hey, it's a Monday.
Yeah.
Hey, I missed a podcast yesterday. So Mike's Daily Podcast was not exactly daily, but I was at a baseball game and I saw the A's lose against the Texas Rangers. And what I learned, since I don't go to baseball games very much, and I know a little bit of what happens where there's a ball that's thrown at a very high velocity and somebody with a really good eye and a piece of wood has to hit the ball rather hard and in such an angle in order to make the ball go in a direction that like 20 guys out on a green field can't figure out how to get the ball. And then they're all rushing around and jumping on top of each other. And then this all happens like every 30 minutes or so. And then there's moments of quietness and contemplation and quietude and solitude. And that's what happens for a lot of this thing. Oh, and eating. Lots of eating and the smells of amazing food. And even though I had stuffed myself with 20 pancakes my lovely lady friend had made, it was still like impossible not to be hungry because all this food is just bombarding you. So good. But here's a little thing called...
And here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture today. That is simply... Ooh! Should we go with a wonderful little baseball picture? Yes. Maybe of my lovely lady friend and I going to see a baseball game. We'll do that. You can see that at MikesDailyPodcast1906Baseball. Yay. All right. I'll pick one of these. A somehow baseball type theme. Pastoral theme. Baseball is pastoral. Football is a battle on the gridiron. Thank you, George Carlin, for that. Oh, Basil. Hey, I got quite a bit of response from people that enjoyed the podcast picture of Basil with headphones on. That's my life, is posting pictures of my wonderful dog. I talked to someone yesterday who owns who had the same situation I did. His boxer later in years could not move his back legs. I don't know if it's specifically a boxer thing, but I love when people get married and they post all these wonderful pictures of their honeymoon. Oh, it's so great. And they post pictures from the wedding and everybody's dressed in these fine clothes, fine fabrics. Oh, and then I love the pictures of the sunset from the beautiful place they're staying at. Oh. Hey, why don't you post a picture 20 years from now where you hate each other? And you're like, oh my God, for the 20th time, you've left your underwear right where I've stepped on it. Disgusting. To me, actually, that's not a thing, but that's just something I've heard that has torn marriages asunder. Oh, yeah. No, this is something. I'm not just picking on one particular person. I'm picking on several people I've known throughout my life since the birth of social media, where it's a million people. Oh, my beautiful husband. Oh, and that thing that ends after a while. Now, however, I am looking at someone. Let's see. They traveled, but okay. So they went to frickin' Italy to keep the marriage going. I guess as the years go on with the married people, to keep them together, they have to spend more and more money. It's an animal that needs more and more pricier foods in order to survive. And they're off to Italy because they got to go eat pizza in Italy. But Italians are like, a pizza, that's an American thing. We make our own pizza. That was my wonderful Italian accent. You're welcome. It took me years to perfect that. But they're still... They came up with pizza, but we did it all. We Americanized the crap out of it. So when you go and eat a pizza in Italy, it's different. Very different. Just like when you go to Der Wiener Schnitzel and expect a hot dog, and you go over to Germany and buy a Wiener Schnitzel. It's the schnitzel is a different thing. It's a breaded piece of, I think, veal. Sorry, cows. And that's pretty much... Oh, and then have you been keeping up on this entire thing with the Mr. President? And apparently he wanted some dirt to dig up on Biden, on his son in the Ukraine. And so he's talking to the head of the Ukraine or somebody in the Ukraine. Hey, give me some... You got any details, any dirt on Biden? And how did... So our... I don't know how many presidents, Democrat or Republican, have done that in the past. But how does this one get caught? The one that's always saying, oh, the media's out to get me, collusion. You would think he'd be a little bit more... but he got caught. So, this is something I'm sure the conservative side of the media will say this is no big deal. Presidents do this all the time. And Biden, who knows what other crazy things Biden has done. The media won't cover it because the media loves Biden. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valleyton. But that's no excuse. We want our politicians to behave better, don't we? I'm saying that even that was a Democrat president. I'm saying that to anybody. Behave. Well, what did I learn this weekend? I learned that baseball is nice. It does make you think inwardly. And I think baseball, for the most part, you don't want to go to it as a single male. I think it's very much a couples game. You go out there, you get to smooch with your honey, post pictures on Instagram and go, oh, yeah, we're so in love. And, just enjoy the wonderful time together. That's probably what I've learned about the baseball. But that could be true probably of any sport where you're outside enjoying it was such a beautiful day in Oakland too. Just so nice. And then I watched an episode of Glow and about the world of wrestling, in the female world of wrestling, when they were just starting to get that going. And I don't care about wrestling. All I can do is just laugh at how Allison Brie has been, as someone who saw her on Community, and I remember her from Mad Men, to see her do such a different Allison Brie and be fun and do a dead-on Russian accent. Oh my gosh. So she had to do a Russian accent in this one part as sort of a joke. But, they're throwing each other all over this rink. They're wrestlers. They're doing the whole WWF type thing, only with women. So would that be the WWF? And it's fantastic and wonderful. And what I've also learned today, or through, my dog, who, I pick him up from the back end because of the harness deal, because he's got the degenerative myelopathy. And the guy I spoke to yesterday, actually, he was outside of the Coliseum, and he had now a lab, but in the past he had a boxer, and it told me he'd gone through the same thing I was going through. But yeah, this Basil just took me freaking a mile. We parked in this one spot, and all of a sudden he started going to this place. He loves going to the dog park in Podcaster Valley. And he pulls me all the way over there. Just bound and determined. And we get there, and it just goes to show that you can't write off people. You never know. And that's where I'll leave it today. Hey, look who's here outside a cafe anyway. Oh my gosh. Oh, and by the way, I left a whole hour later than I usually do, or what I've been seeing. So last week I had to be at work at 5:30 or so, and I would do the podcast around 5:35. Today it's 6:35. So I go to work an hour later in the Bay Area. Oh my gosh, the traffic already. And it's only like 5:30 and the traffic is still going crazy. And Mission Boulevard in Union City, it's the worst road on the planet. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know what the government system is like in Union City, how it's run. But Union City is run terribly if you judge it by how Mission Boulevard looks. It is all messed up, all torn up. The signals, they go red for cars, for traffic that's moving through. There's no cross traffic, and so it goes red on the traffic that's actually supposed to be moving, and then stays red for, it seems like, hours. Well, it's definitely more than a minute, which is ridiculous. Get it together, Union City. And I've actually gone online, tried to find who you contact about that, because this is not a new thing. This is something I've dealt with over the years. Waking up early, trying to get over to Fremont at 4:30 in the morning. And they've got these stupid, completely useless lights that go red and then stay red forever. It's ridiculous. Come on, Union City. Gosh. Hey, look who's out here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the rodeo queen. How you doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
I'll just run red lights.
You can't do that.
Well, I'll do it. And I admit it on podcasts that no one listens to.
Okay, look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. Have some right now. I'll cut you. Oh, boy.
So delicious, this root beer. Thank you, Brewmaster. Do you go through red lights?
Sure, okay, whatever. Oh, boy.
So there you go. Running those red lights. Now you need to stop. Because there's this other thing happening in the Bay Area that's completely ridiculous. Where as you're driving along and you see someone pull up and they want to make a right turn and drive in the lane you're currently on, the road you're currently driving, and people don't even stop, they just pull right out in front of you. That happens constantly in the Bay Area. I don't get it. And you're constantly slamming on your brakes. There's a sense of entitlement. It's bad, y'all. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Drive carefully. Don't underestimate your friends. Don't underestimate the ability inside of you. We'll end it with that. Awesome.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.